Facing the gleaming blade pointed at him, Dustin narrowed his eyes slightly. He hadn't even figured out what was going on, yet they were already accusing him of being a traitor. What a domineering bunch. Aunt Lon, you must be mistaken. Dustin would never betray us. Natasha Harmon immediately defended him. Mistaken or not, we'll decide after a full investigation. The beautiful woman snapped coldly. Tie him up first. If he dares resist, execute him on the spot. Execute me? Dustin's brow furrowed. You haven't even figured out the truth, and you're already making reckless accusations. Isn't that a bit much? Humph. For the sake of the Harmon family's future, no act is too extreme. The woman barked. And what makes you so sure that I'm the traitor? Dustin countered. I don't need proof. If I say you are, then you are, she declared arrogantly. Her unreasonable behavior made Dustin's expression gradually turn cold. He had been trying to reason calmly this whole time, but this woman clearly didn't care about reason or truth. She had made up her mind. This was beyond infuriating. Aunt Lon! The matter hasn't been settled. Don't act rashly. Natasha Harmon scolded. I'm your head of security. It's my duty to ensure your safety. This man reeks of deceit. He's clearly no good. The woman barked again. You're mistaken. Dustin even saved me earlier. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't have made it out of Hummer Villa. Ruth Harmon chimed in. Humph. That was just a show, part of his elaborate scheme. You were all fooled by him. The woman snorted. But... Ruth tried to say more, but was cut off. No buts. For your safety, I'd rather kill the wrong person than let the true traitor escape. I don't get it. You and I have no grudge. Why are you pushing me this hard? Dustin said coolly. Save your breath. You might fool them, but not me. If you want to live, you'd better surrender now, the woman warned. And if I say no? Dustin asked calmly. Then you've got no one to blame but yourself. The woman signaled her men with a glance. You! Get down on your knees! Two men stepped forward with blades, placing them at Dustin's neck. Don't force me to act, Dustin said, his voice ice cold. So what if we are? Who do you think you are? Get down! One man shouted and kicked at Dustin's knee. But Dustin didn't budge. On the contrary, the man stumbled backward, shaken by the recoil. You son of a... Just as the man erupted in anger and lunged forward, Dustin struck, with a single palm to the top of the man's head. Bang! The man's skull cracked open, and he collapsed, dead on the spot. Ah! The crowd gasped, their expressions shifting dramatically. No one had expected Dustin to be so ruthless, killing with no hesitation. He clearly had no regard for the Harmon family. You're courting death! The second man, enraged, swung his blade fiercely, but Dustin didn't dodge. He punched straight through the man's chest. His blood-soaked fist burst from the man's back. In just 2 seconds, 2 men were dead. He really is a traitor! Kill him! The beautiful woman's expression turned savage as she gave the kill order. At once, over a dozen elite guards drew their blades and charged. Dustin's eyes turned to ice. He charged into the group and began his one-sided slaughter. In seconds, over a dozen men had collapsed, every single one killed with a single blow. It was swift, brutal, and merciless. You bastard! You killed the Harmon family's elite? No one can save you now! The woman roared, pulling a short sword from her waist and lunging like an arrow. Her speed was astonishing, too fast to counter. Humph! Expressionless, Dustin tilted his head to avoid the thrust, then punched her square in the stomach. Arg! She let out a scream and flew several meters back, slamming into a business van before collapsing. But Dustin didn't stop. He followed up, grabbed her by the neck, and lifted her into the air. Ugh! The woman's breath caught. Her strength instantly drained, leaving her limp and helpless. She was like a fish on a chopping board, powerless to resist. Dustin! Stop! She's one of us, part of the Harmon family. Ruth cried out in alarm. Master Dustin! Kill the others if you must, but don't touch her, or you'll be in real trouble. Lu Chang was panicking too. Humph! I'm Natasha's elder and a pillar of the Harmon family. If you kill me, you'll be our #1 enemy, the woman threatened coldly. But before she could finish her sentence, Dustin's grip tightened. Crack! A sharp snap echoed. Her head slumped to the side, she was dead. In her wide-open eyes were shock, confusion, and disbelief. She never expected Dustin to be so insane. He just killed her, no hesitation, no fear of the consequences. This? Everyone stood frozen, staring at the limp body on the ground, utterly dumbfounded. They looked at each other in disbelief. That was Aunt Lon, a senior member of the Harmon family, Natasha's elder, slain just like that. This guy was crazy, you lunatic! You killed Aunt Lon? Do you have any idea what you've done? Ruth stared in disbelief. She tried to kill me. What was I supposed to do? Let her live until New Year's. Dustin replied flatly. You! Ruth was so furious she couldn't speak. Master Dustin, you've really stirred up a hornet's nest this time. Lu Chang sighed, regretful. Dustin! You've killed a high-ranking member of the Harmon family. I'll report your crimes to the family. A bald guard roared. This man was out of his mind. Killing Aunt Lon meant declaring war on the entire family. Miss Harmon, what do you think? Dustin turned to Natasha. He wanted to gauge her reaction. Mr. Dustin acted in self-defense. I see no issue, she replied calmly after a brief moment of shock. Her words brought Dustin a sense of relief. From this moment on, he regarded Natasha as a true friend. Miss Harmon, I didn't kill recklessly. Look, see what's on her? Dustin said as he rolled up the woman's sleeve. A serpent tattoo was inked on her wrist. Huh! Isn't that the same mark those assassins had? Why would Aunt Lon have it too? Lu Chang blinked in confusion. Ruth, stunned, gasped. No way. Don't tell me. Aunt Lon was the traitor all along? What? Aunt Lon was the traitor? Everyone froze for a moment after Ruth Harmon spoke. But once they stripped the assassin's clothes and saw the identical tattoos, everyone's expressions changed. Clearly, this wasn't just some coincidence. A tattoo alone doesn't prove anything. One of the bald bodyguards questioned. Sure, one tattoo might not be convincing. But what if all of them have it? Dustin stepped forward and lifted the clothes of each of the female assassin's subordinates. Soon, everyone saw it. All of them had the same tattoo, in different locations on their bodies. One could be coincidence. A dozen? That was the truth staring them in the face. The traitor was confirmed. No wonder. No wonder Aunt Lon kept stirring up trouble the moment she showed up. Turns out she was the real traitor. Lu Chang exclaimed, both shocked and furious. As one of the Harmon family's elite himself, he felt deep hatred for such betrayal. But why? The Harmon family has always treated her like one of their own. Why betray us? Ruth asked, furrowing her brows in confusion. These days, it's all about fame and profit. Some people can't resist temptation. Luckily, Master Dustin saw through it in time and exposed her. Otherwise, we would have been doomed, Lu Chang said with lingering fear. After all, having a traitor that close was like living with a ticking time bomb. You never know when it might go off. Sis, what do we do now? Ruth looked lost. When you see one cockroach in the sunlight, it means there are 1,000 more hiding in the dark. I'll report this to Father and have him conduct a full investigation, Natasha Harmon said seriously. A traitor inside the family was no small matter. It was far worse than an outside enemy. A dam can collapse from an ant-hole. If not dealt with swiftly, the consequences would be disastrous. You're right. We must investigate thoroughly. These traitors are detestable. Ruth nodded heavily. Miss Harmon, there's no way Aunt Lon didn't have spies. That means we likely still have 1 or 2 more roaches hiding among us. Dustin's sharp eyes swept over the group and finally locked onto the bald bodyguard. Why looking at me like that? You think I'm the traitor? The bald man's eyelid twitched. Whether you are or not, take off your shirt and we'll find out. Dustin said coolly. You think I'll just strip because you told me to? Who do you think you are? The bald bodyguard snapped. Do as Mr. Dustin says. Take it off, Natasha ordered. Young miss, I've served you for years. You're not really doubting me, are you? The man looked betrayed. Strip! Natasha barked coldly. Fine. Since you don't trust me, I'll prove my innocence myself. The bald bodyguard looked furious, as if deeply wronged. But just as he started to lift his shirt, his expression suddenly turned vicious. With a swift flick of his arms, 2 black streaks shot out from his sleeves, one toward Dustin, the other at Natasha. The attack happened so fast that no one reacted in time. Humph! Dustin calmly raised his hand and caught the black streak between his fingers. It was a venomous snake, as thick as a pinky finger. "Young miss!" A cry of alarm rang out. No one noticed when, but Natasha had already been bitten on the thigh by another venomous snake. "Seize the traitor!" Her face turned cold as she stomped the snake dead with a single strike. "Get him!" The elite guards swarmed and pinned the bald bodyguard to the ground. "I treated you well. Why would you betray me?" Natasha approached, her aura icy and murderous. "Young miss, people die for money, birds die for food. They offered too much. Can't blame me." The bald man sneered grotesquely. "Who sent you? Who else is behind this?" Natasha demanded. "If I talk, I die. If I don't, only I die. If I do, my whole family will be wiped out," the man replied darkly. Natasha opened her mouth to respond, but suddenly her vision blurred, and she collapsed. Before she hit the ground, Dustin caught her with one arm. Lifting her clothes slightly, he saw that the area where the snake bit her was already black and purple. The venom was clearly extremely potent. "Where's the antidote?" Dustin's foot pressed down hard on the man's face, his eyes like knives. "I have it. But you'll have to release me first. If not, I'll die with her." The man laughed wickedly. "You threatening me?" Dustin narrowed his eyes. "Dustin, I know you're a divine doctor. But this venom was specially cultivated by a master. Without the antidote, you can't cure it, you bastard! Hand over the antidote, or I'll beat you to death!" Ruth shouted and began kicking him. "Go ahead. Beat me to death. If I die, your precious young miss dies too." That made Ruth immediately stop, afraid to take the risk. "I'm warning you, this venom acts fast. In the time it takes for one incense stick to burn, she'll be dead," the traitor threatened. "Give me the antidote, and I'll spare your life," Dustin said coldly. "Why should I trust you?" The bald man frowned. "You don't have a choice. If anything happens to her, I'll make you beg for death." Dustin's voice was icy. The traitor hesitated. After a moment, he asked, "If I tell you how to cure it, will you really let me go?" "A gentleman never goes back on his word," Dustin replied. "Fine. I'll trust you just this once." The man gritted his teeth. "Truth is, there is no antidote. The only way to survive is for someone to suck the venom out with their mouth. But the one who does it is likely to die. So, do you have the guts?" He smirked mockingly. "Thanks for the tip." Dustin nodded, then suddenly stomped down with force, crushing the man's chest. Crack! Bones shattered. Organs ruptured. Spurt! The man vomited blood, eyes wide in disbelief. You said you wouldn't kill me." "Sorry. I changed my mind," Dustin said flatly. You're shameless." The man opened his mouth, but before he could finish his sentence, he died. "I'm no gentleman. Why would I follow any rules of honor?" Dustin muttered to the corpse. The crowd was stunned. Only now did they realize this seemingly harmless man might actually be terrifying.
And just can't accept it. This can't be the end yet. You promised to never leave, and now you're gone. Can't believe I can feel the world slipping away as you slowly fade from my everyday. You promised forever a love without end, but now I'm left broken, struggling to mend. I thought we were so tied, destined for a lifetime, love with no end, love with no end. piece of you I'll never let go. Though distance brings separation, in my heart you'll always glow. I just can't